Stephen Zucker.
And Juliana Krynick.
And we're talking about Twittering Machine by Paul Klee.
Or Zwischenmaschine.
So this is one of my favorite works by Klee, and I think many people's. It's perhaps, for me, one of the most fanciful, one of the most playful works of art I can think of.
These little figures, which to me they look like half bird-like creature, half puppet, half doll, even though you can't have three halves. They have these different faces where you can see details if you look really closely at. Each of them has a sense of individuality, but they all seem a little bit...
mischievous.
Mischievous
right?
is the perfect word. They seem mischievous and about to do something. And, it's funny because I look at the characters and then I'm thinking, what's the twittering machine?
Well, he's exposed for us this wonderful kind of mechanical object. It's drawn in the simplest pen and ink on a kind of watercolor wash, really subtle and lovely, but not too finished and still quite sort of open. But there's this fabulous kind of invitation for the viewer to somehow reach in and to turn that handle and to bring this to life.
You know what I'm just thinking of? And I'm thinking of this because Klee is Swiss, and I'm thinking of this because it's turning and then there's birds. I'm thinking of a cuckoo clock.
Oh, I think you're absolutely right.
Do you think he was maybe creating this sort of inner workings of the cuckoo clock deconstructed and sort of turned on its head?
I think so, absolutely.
Like the birds have been freed.
But here they are freed because this is not about the mechanics of time. It's not about the structure of time at all. This is a kind of human-powered machine. We have to reach in to bring this thing to life. And if it was brought to life, you get a sense of the chaos of these birds, which is completely at odds with the notion of the precision of the Swiss
clock.
Absolutely,
it doesn't have that kind of precision at all. It's not that kind of machine. It's a machine of frivolity.
Look at the way he's done it, because when you look at, for instance, the shapes that come out of each of the mouths or the beaks of these birds.
Yeah, they definitely have a beak-like quality.
They do. Those are different shapes, and they become almost visual signs. They become notations of the sounds that you can imagine they would be making. It would be a fracas. It would be a kind of cacophony, but each with a distinct kind of tone.
So this second figure from right with this spiral, I feel like he would make sort of a boing, boing, boing sound.
Maybe
like
so.
Up and down and up
a spring-like sound.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And some of the others would just sort of be like, wah, wah, wah. I mean, you could sort of imagine all of those things happening all at once as soon as anyone starts to turn the handle.
I think that's right. And you could also imagine sort of the chaos visually of how this would look. If you turn the handle, because each bird is perched on a wire that sort of arcs in space, you can get the sense of them bouncing up and down and sort of gyrating, and maybe that almost bow tie like double
they must
triangle
rotate around
that would spin.
It
exactly
would spin around.
exactly
So you
right.
turn it up and then the whole thing sort of spins around that axis.
So what Klee has done, and it's just incredible, it's brilliant, is in an static, frozen drawing, he's been able to evoke sound and energy and motion, and also an invitation for us to somehow power the entire image, as a viewer so often really does.
It really calls for us to interact with it, and it calls for us to play with it. I mean, it seems like it's just an invitation to have fun.
Now, that's so interesting because Klee is at the Bauhaus for a year now, and so often when we think of the Bauhaus, we think of something that's slightly dour, something a little
very
serious.
I think it's very serious. I mean, I think that they certainly had a lot of fun, but even their fun was serious. Like, we must make new things, and we must have new parties, and we must, find new ways to make trouble.
And yet, Klee seems to be making trouble in just a simply and wonderfully playful way here.